Sydney, led by Mitch Bredlin through the streamers and coloured paper. Here they go. Danny Loftus, Ziggy Niscott, Mitch Brennan, Tony Melrose, Ken Wright, Greg Mackey, Graham Murray, Shane Arneal, Peter Tunks, Peter Smith, Gary Hamley, Ken Stewart, Tony Rampling, coach Bill Anderson. Canterbury led out by Gary Hughes, their skipper for the day. This is the full side. Greg Brentnell, Chris Anderson, Chris Mortimer, Peter Mortimer, Steve Guerin, Gary Hughes, Steve Mortimer, Andrew Farah, Steve Folkes, Steve Mullen, John Coveney, Pat English and Taz Bateri. Coach Ted Glossop. Referee Mr. Kevin Roberts. From the kickoff, South Sydney. Ball went dead. And Canterbury from the quarter line restart. About 12 metres out now. From the big smokestack in the background, I think it's fairly evident that the breeze is blowing from the northeast, favouring Canterbury in this first half. Barry Ross on the sideline.
Yes, another perfect day for football, Rex, and Canterbury winning the toss and taking use of that slight breeze.
And we've got a touch judge in already. Might have been an altercation between Hamley and Steve Mortimer there. It's still going to be a scrum. South Sydney win their first scrum. Loftus is up in the line on the blind side. That's the fullback. And a penalty against Canterbury from directly in front. A large crowd here at Redfern applaud that decision. But Melrose from the middle of the field. And that's right between the posts, continuing his good form. So South Sydney after only a couple of minutes play, 2-0. Guerin kicks off for Canterbury Bankstown. Looking like Ken Wright on the first bounce. He's up over the quarter. Very involved player these days, Ken Wright. He's being called a match winner out here at Redfern. Tunks up the blind side. Loss of about 2 metres there. Bateri was one of the defenders. Murray, Hamley, referees down. Although Greg Hartley was in the commentary position beside me. There's possession gone to ground. Canterbury come up with it in the South Sydney quarter. I think Smith spilt that for South Sydney. Now Mortimer, Gary Hughes, beautiful pass away there to Folkes. He's wrapped up about 3 metres out. Now let's see whether Canterbury can put their act together. Now there's a penalty against Arneal. Specifically Arneal. 16 metres in from the sideline on the quarter line. He's hooked that badly. It won't go dead. Brennan has it in the end goal. And well picked off there too by number 13 Steve Mullen with a good dive tackle. Plenty of cover there, but that kick not a good one. South about 10 yards out. Smith, man of the match last week. And up against his former club, played in the grand final, both in reserve grade and first grade for Canterbury. I think in consecutive years. Back to Melrose, left foot downfield. Beautifully positioned was Guerin, but it's a knock on, I think. It's been kicked through. Mortimer has it now. The referee's has played the advantage, but none came to South, so it has to be a scrum. Just inside the South's half. Murray to feed. Another scrum win to South Sydney. Greg Mackey. George Paponis, who's played, I believe, in the third grade today.
Yes, he told me he came through the game quite well.
And although they lost the game fairly comprehensively, that wouldn't have been anything to do with him, of course. Smith on the move. Third grade was won by South Sydney 18-0. The reserve grade 20-5. Big afternoon for South Sydney so far. Stewart. Murray. Mackey. Right through the gap. There should be a try. There's support. He's going to go in the corner. Well, threadbare defence, and Mackey's just run around him and gone straight through. So watch Mackey get the pass from Murray. And that was just a terrifying defensive lapse there. Steve Mortimer was only shepherding him, wasn't attempting to get to him. Head on. Well, it was for 13 there, Steve Mullen, who got on the outside of. Mackey seems to increase his pace there as Brentnall pushes him over the touch and goal line. From the quarter line now. Wide out, just kicked the ground a touch, but he still kicked it. A great goal by Melrose, and doesn't seem to be worrying him where they are. South Sydney 7, Canterbury 0. Great kick. South Sydney on attack now. Stewart only 20 yards out. Murray, Mackey, Melrose, right through. He's there. It's a try to Melrose through threadbare defence. No brilliance attached to that. Just bumped the tackler out of the way and leapt through it. South 10, Canterbury 0. See it again. Nothing in the way of extraordinary skills here. Just coming straight and went straight through the tackle, I think, of Peter Mortimer. That is awful. From head on. Just chain passing. Well, actually, there were two of them close together. Gary Hughes could have tackled him too. It's a very ordinary performance by the Canterbury side. Metres out, 20 metres in from the sideline. No problems at all for Melrose, and the touch is in. South Sydney 12, Canterbury 0. Canterbury not being able to sustain anything at all in the way of pressure or possession. Hamley now just on the quarter line. Coach of South Sydney there having a look at proceedings. Tunks stood up in a tackle on the quarter. Melrose back to right. Right, it's a high, very high kick. It's broken at right angles and finds touch on halfway. Touch judge in at the moment. We've got player down. It could be. Were you watching that, Barry, or watching the ball?
No, I was watching. I didn't see the Canterbury player involved, but it was for a late tackle after the ball had been kicked.
It was Farah being spoken to. There's another penalty. An incorrect feed against Mortimer. Penalties are 3-1 in favour of South Sydney, and these scrums are 3-1 in favour of South. Very comfortable situation with a 12-point lead as well after only 17 minutes. So back come the Rabbitohs again. Telecast brought to you by Mazda and your local Mazda dealer. Smith. Well tackled on the quarter line, midfield. Hamley. He's 20 yards out. Stewart. Murray picked off. Chris Mortimer the tackler. Stewart. Mackey trying to get a reissue on that try he scored earlier. Stewart. Melrose, a high kick. Steve Mortimer swings him to the ground. Niscott has the ball in his hands actually and loses it forward. Another scrum win to South Sydney, 4-1. The scrums at the moment. Niscott trying to go up the blind side. Murray waving his backs deeper. Murray. Mackey knocked over before he could get a pass away. Melrose. Just thinking what a useful utility player this Melrose would be on a Kangaroo tour. There's Smith on the boil. Hammering away. Smith at the edge of the ruck. Stewart. Tunks. Swings the pass away. Murray. Melrose. Back on the inside to Rampling. About a yard short. And that's the 6. Yes, Melrose can cover the 5'8" centre wing and fullback position. He's a tactical kicker and he's obviously a very good goal kicker. Well, Mortimer allowed to get away with that feed. Farah standing out of the scrum. Now, can Canterbury keep the ball for a passage of play? Gary Hughes. And we're making a bit of heavy weather of the South Sydney defence at the moment. Folks to his feet. English not coming up with any scrum winning statistics of note since he took over from George Paponis. Mortimer. Mullen. Long run and a good one. Anderson taken high and put down by Niscott. Mortimer. Long floating pass out there to Peter Mortimer. Now it's out to Chris Mortimer. Back on the inside to Gary Hughes. Hughes can't get a pass away. Wrapped up on the borderline. Good passage of play. A drop punt type kick of Brentwell's is a great one. From midfield to make a gain of 30 metres is quality kicking. And we desperately need a score. There's Coveney coming hard, being unseated just as hard. English. Well, they're putting everything into it. Steve Mullen charging. About 9 yards out. English. Farah. Double tackle there. No, it wasn't. That was Materi. Now, Mortimer. Beautiful pass out to Peter Mortimer. Back on the inside to Anderson. Anderson quickly to Steve Mortimer. Quick pass out. It was touched in flight. Peter Mortimer has it. Roberts has indicated 6 to go. That was a quality bit of play. What a speed of ball movement. 12 to 3. See that again. What a great try. Now, Steve Mortimer. Lovely pass straight to brother Petermer. Back inside to Anderson. Almost as quick as you like to Steve Mortimer. Touched by, who was that? Melrose could have been. And finally Peter Mortimer, the scorer. From head on. Now watch for the touching of the ball in flight by the South Sydney player. It might be Melrose. At that point it was. Melrose trying to knock it back into the end goal. Peter Mortimer. Well, no comment. South Sydney 12, Canterbury 3. Barry working on the assumption that Gearan might be taken off as a kicker. Who's the alternative?
Well, Andrew Farah, the lock forward, was an Australian schoolboys to France in 1979 and one of the prime goal kickers on that tour. He's quite a good goal kicker, so I suppose he would be the logical choice, although he hasn't kicked much in first grade. Certainly a bad thing for Canterbury. It must be very disheartening because the score could have been 12-9 because none of those
kicks have been all that hard.
No, not at all.
Okay, so back to the action with Farah in possession. Materi, Gary Hughes, Steve Moore. Oh, terrible little kick. Picked up by Stewart. Now to Murray. The quick transference caught Canterbury really at 6s and 7s. Brennan. Arneal. Couldn't get the pass away. He's on the quarter line now. Hamley. Runs straight and hard. Hamley takes it to within about 13 yards. Mackey. Smith. And trying desperately to get his arms free there. To unload. Stewart. That was well taken. Rampling. Little knock on there, evidently. And with about 5 minutes to half time now, this scoreline that Canterbury probably can't believe. 12-3 against. There's another one to Canterbury. Redfern halfway through the tackle. As scrums now have levelled out a little bit. Canterbury 6, South 5. That means that Canterbury won the last 4 scrums. And the penalties are 5 all. That one goes to Canterbury for offside. Inside the 5. Redfern, look at the ease with which this man makes ground. Look, that's another 30-metre gain from the middle of the field with no appreciable wind. It's an art that should be practiced by a lot more players. Let's see what they can do. Mullen straight and hard. 10 yards into South's territory. Gary Hughes. Mortimer. Peter. Caught by one leg. Steve Mortimer. Terry driven sideways. Coveney. Got to be a little bit more subtle than that. Error situation. South's 2, Canterbury 7. That could be a try. Gearin gets a pass away to Anderson. And it's a try underneath the post, and that's the post to score them. 12 points to 6. South Sydney lead. See it again. Now, English was a dummy half. There was Mortimer there and Gary Hughes, the dummy. The runaround move was expected by South. He didn't dummy. He didn't give the ball. He gave it to Gearin. Gearin gave it back to Anderson, who ran beside the posts. And I think you'll see that Gary Hughes from head on, the cleverness of the dummy there. A little stutter. And South Sydney fell for that one. Gearin, both the wingers, like the Ferguson and Blacklock being together. Gearin now from almost within throwing range. Surely he'd be replaced if he misses this. And he hits that strongly and well, and that's the scoreline that's a little bit more healthy. South Sydney 12, Canterbury 8. Oh, well taken there by Mullen. He's had quite a strong game, Mullen. He's in everything. Very stocky player. Gary Hughes. Beautiful pass there.
Mullen is one of 3 of the last Australian schoolboys rugby league team to go overseas on the field. There's him and Farah from Canterbury and Tony Rampling from South.
Terry's been a strong player too, taking it up and looking to unload where he can. Gary Hughes. Farah. About a minute according to the clock. English. Now, Canterbury. Gary Hughes. Back inside to Chris Mortimer. Then to Anderson. Nicely to Peter Mortimer. Ball still alive. Folks. Bretnell. And there's still tackles to go. That's the first. That ball was touched in flight. Oh dear, do you believe that, folks? Just picked it up, ran with it, dropped it. That's a very critical error. With half a minute to go and 5 tackles in your opposition's quarter, half a minute to go to half-time, that is. That's a very critical error. South's come up with the ball, so that's the pressure off and probably the half-time score. Will Reid, 12-8, South Sydney. The scorers have been for the South Sydney side. Tony Milrose a try and 3 goals from 4 attempts. Greg Mackey a try for South Sydney. For the Canterbury side, there are 2 tries scored in the last 5 minutes. In the space of 4 of those 5 minutes, Chris Anderson and Peter Mortimer. And a goal to Steve Gearin. Now Canterbury back in possession once again. Mortimer. Out it comes Gary Hughes. Bretnell trying to surge his way through with sheer power.
Yes, he hits the line very well, doesn't he?
Sure does. Gary Hughes switches it out there to Peter Mortimer. Wrong foots the opposition beautifully with a little dummy kick. And he's on the quarter line. Gearin. Steve Mortimer goes with a high kick. This won't present Loftus with too many problems. Taken in goal. And it'll be a goal line drop out to restart play. And one wonders whether they'll get this kick in. We estimate they're into about 2 minutes of extra time. Britnell going to have a drop for a goal. Oh, and he's hit them upright in the... It's been a penalty to... obviously to South Sydney there, because Canterbury players were in front of the kicker. And it hadn't been touched by a South Sydney player at that stage. So the hood have gone in the background. 12-8 the score, South's favour. They having led by 12 points to 0 for a long section of this game. And they're at the half-time break. We've given you the scorers. Just let me bring you up to date the statistics. The scrums are 6-all. The penalties are 6-5 South Sydney. Back in just a moment with all the action of the second half. And away they go for the second half, with South Sydney leading by 12 points to 8. Taken well by Tunks, who's been one of the very good players on the field for South Sydney in this first half. Barry Ross has been in the dressing rooms. What have they had to say? Well,
Bill Anderson for South Sydney concentrated on 3 major points with his team. Number 1, the scrums. He wasn't happy with the way the scrums were finishing up, particularly in the latter stages of the first half. Number 2, the defence affecting Gary Hughes. That's not right, he said, and he worked on that. And number 3, he thought that Greg Bretnell was Canterbury's most dangerous player, and of course some time was taken on that. Teddy Glossop, meanwhile, he picked up that defensive effort around with Gary Hughes, and he wants Gary Hughes to have runners on both sides of him and more runners. He told his team to be cool when they've got the ball. Let's not give it back to the South Sydney side. Just wait and the chances will come. And also he thought that the score is only 4-0 now. They've fought back into the game well, and he thinks they can go on and win it. Right. Just like to remind you of the telecast on Tuesday of the State of Origin match, New South Wales and Queensland from Lang Park. You'll be able to see that on Channel 7 exclusively at 9:30, doing a full match telecast of it, and I'm assured it's going to be a great game, so don't fail to see that, you league fans. Tell your friends, 9:30 on 7 next Tuesday. Looking for our award winner in this match, Seven's big league man. Oh, what a tackle there from Smith. Absolute ripper. Very legitimate, hard, strong body check. This Mortimer beautifully tackled out there by Milrose, right round the boots. Gary Hughes. And our award winner will be the recipient of $400. He'll appear on Sports World the next Sunday. And Steve Mortimer unloads a nice pass out to Anderson there. Weekly award winners will be judged by the Controversy Corner panel at the end of the season, and all those weekly award winners ultimately will become the Mazda Footballer of the Year, the selectee. A magnificent Mazda RX-7 is his prize, valued at $17,524. And of course we have a try of the match. The man responsible for the King G try of the match. Oh, Gary Hughes. Terrible blunder there. Gave the ball straight back to South Sydney. Steve Mortimer fired it a little bit hard, one thought. Anyway, the error is made and South have got the ball. Player responsible for the King G try of the match. And back inside to Milrose. Nicely to Loftus. He spilled it. Gary Hughes picks it up. Oh, well. I don't believe it. Well, that was ridiculous. I don't understand that ruling at all. The referee has made an error, I believe. And that is a terrible blunder as far as he's concerned. But they've come up with the ball from the ensuing scrum, so things aren't so bad. Got it away to Gearin. Gearin's playing midfield. He'll look for support. Oh, and it was picked off nicely there by a despairing Brennan tackle. Gary Hughes. And Farrah's got himself into the clear and now pulled down from behind. Canterbury starting to put their act together a little bit. Still got a 4-point deficit. Crowd screaming for a knock on there. There's a good pass. And Chris Mortimer belted to the ground. Britnell goes to dummy half. And offside go South Sydney. Gearin will go for goal. And that means he's got to get a 50-yard carry to get it dead, even if he doesn't kick it. Gearin. He struck it well, and he's kicked it dead and kicked the goal to boot. So Canterbury 10, South Sydney 12.
Melrose from the restart. Bretnell takes that beautifully. What qualities this man has got as a catcher of a football. He really is a great player and becoming greater. And on the quarter line now, Canterbury Steve Mortimer. Gearan suddenly blooms up midfield there, looking for a bit of work. He's had a poor season. Barry only played a few games, really, hasn't he?
It's about 3 games. He got hurt against Balmain around the Easter period, as did George Paponis. And Gearan came back against North Sydney in reserve grade last week, and George Paponis today in 3rd grade.
Okay, there's folks caught high, but not illegally.
Notice how these two sides, Rex, both in defence, they keep the same centre on the same side of the field and the same forwards on either side of the ruck.
Gary Hughes, little chip over the top. Loftus stands his ground, takes it well, evades one tackle. Evades, no, he doesn't. And that was a good bit of covering there by by Mullen. Fine bit of cover. Neil. Loftus limping after that. Murray, Tunks. There's a good pass gone out, but it's gone astray as Mackie knocks it back behind him and offside now. Interfering evidently with a player not in possession of the balls when the ruling. Holding was the signal I was looking for. Melrose, 10 yards out from the quarter. Struck it beautifully. It's a goal. So he's got the status quo back to where it was. 4 points the difference. South 14, Canterbury 10. Souths are going to come up with the ball. Murray. Neil, held by Gary Hughes. They'll have a bit of defence to do now. Murray. Brennan through. Back on the inside. Oh, and what a tackle from Mortimer. Put Mackie down as if he'd been hit by a truck. Right. Rampling on the boil. I think he got a pass away and it's been ruled forward. Loftus, I think, received it, and it's been called a forward pass, not an offside pass. That tackle by Mortimer there is going to be considered a try saver. What a ripper. The scrum win to South Sydney. Murray wrapped up on the open side and back slammed hard. There's O'Neill putting his head down and barging for the line. We're only about 8 yards out. Less than that, perhaps 5. Loftus, Murray, Melrose. They managed to flog him down and drive him back a metre. So that's been a net loss of about 8 metres in that last tackle. There's Brennan. Great defence by Canterbury. And South Sydney a bit of a bunch at the moment. There's Hamley. He's wrapped up about 10 yards out. Now Stewart. Tunks stepping back on the inside. Unloaded nicely to Stewart. Stewart spinning. He's in. No! Yes, he is. He was hit hard. And all from a player standing in a tackle unloading well. That was Tunks, I think, originally. Let's see it again. Now watch Tunks standing here and unload at that point. Now Stewart should have been tackled. Gone through one. He was hit hard by Bretnell with a body check from head on. Now Tunks' value here. A little dummy through the tackle there of Coveney. Bretnell tried to belt him backwards. 6th attempt for Melrose. He's only 20 yards out and he's about 20 yards off centre. That's 23 yards off centre. And unsuccessful. That's a bit of a let-off. So South Sydney 17, Canterbury 10. Loftus, Neil.
Crowd today, 13,846.
13,846 the crowd here at Redfern to watch this clash. Stewart at dummy half. Murray, Smith. He's about 10 yards out from his quarter. Murray, right. Pass too hard, but Loftus takes it beautifully. It's on to Brennan. Brennan's up the sideline. There's Steve Mortimer underneath him. Beautiful tackle. What a beautiful bit of play. Haven't seen a whole lot of Steve Mortimer, but he's pulled off 2 remarkable tackles. See that one again. Loftus did well to get it to Brennan. Now the little fella lined him up and hammered him in over the sideline. Top stuff. Back to the action. English being penalised for feet across. Now right. South advantageously placed now. Penalties favour South 8-6. The scrums are at 8-all. Play inside the Canterbury quarter. Stewart. Murray. Not the place to go through there. Stewart again, looking for number 2. And away to Tunks. 15 minutes of the second half gone. 17-10, South Sydney lead. They won the earlier grades. 20-5 in reserve grade. Smith unloads to Loftus. Oh, and he swung down about a metre out. This is on the rack now for Canterbury. Right. Oh, a long floater. Who's got it? Who's got? They get him down. No, he's in. Sucks himself underneath the tackle. Under 2 tacklers and scores wide out. Kenny Wright's long floating pass out there went straight to Niscott like a projectile. See it again. Wright's long pass. Niscott reaching for it. There's Gearan coming across, and the 2 Canterbury players collide. Look at this one from Wright. That's a 25-yard pass. Bretnell and Gearan are the 2. And they do each other a bit of a mischief there. Melrose from a yard in from the sideline on the quarter line. That's a beautiful looking kick. He's kicked it from the sideline. So there it is, 22 points to 10. South Sydney surging away now with 23 minutes to go in the second half. A replacement on Barry Ross.
There's John Kasparian for Canterbury. In the second row for Stephen Folkes.
Folkes just coming off. Right, South Sydney putting the Canterbury on the rack at the moment. There's a bad pass. It's gone behind everybody. Wright has it. And Kasparian on. That'll be a penalty. Melrose 10 yards in from the sideline, 3 yards out from the quarter line. This is his 8th kick and goal. Been successful with 5. There it is, 24 points to 10. South Sydney running away with this game now. 15 points to Tony Melrose today. Trying 6 goals. Pretty good tally. Stephen Folkes, the player that was replaced. Kasparian on there, and he's playing a number 16 jersey. There's another towering kick from Melrose. Oh, Bretnell manages to keep it in the field of play. He's up towards the quarter line. Canterbury very slow to get back on side. Anderson, Gary Hughes, back to Anderson. I'll run around move. 15 and a half minutes to go. South forwards tackling very well. Smith and Hamley combining there. English, who's made a couple of strong little darts at different times. Very low to the ground and quite quick. Steve Mortimer, first time he's tried to run this half. And very well contained. And Hughes. And all to no avail as the South Sydney defence swarmed over there. Steve Mullen was the last man up. Another scrum into Canterbury. Good pass, cuts out a man. It's an overlap out on the right. There it is out to Peter Mortimer. He's up over halfway. Evades one tackle. Stops. Comes back inside Niscott. Oh, there's a good wrapping tackle there. Melrose is the man that pulled it off. What a game he's had. Gary Hughes. And there's Farah, who weaves his way forward, but gets up unseated there, being told to the tackle had been affected, and South penalised for going on with it. And about 13 minutes to go. 24-10. Gary Hughes looking for a runner, and there was nobody there.
Ted Glossop spent a lot of time at half-time talking about that very fact.
There's Kasparian, the replacement. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Steve Mortimer. He couldn't position himself then. Number 5. Steve Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Steve Mortimer. That's a good pass on to Farah. He finds himself through the gap. Got to pass away. English can't. Yes, he can. It's on to Coveney. He trips. It's about 7 yards out. Steve Mortimer. Beautiful pass. Brentnell has it in his hands, loses it, and it's been knocked over the dead ball line by the attacking side, so it's out to the quarter line for a restart. Well, Brentnell actually had that ball in his hands. He was hit hard. Down she went. Minutes left for play. 24 points to 10. Very convincing display by South Sydney today. Hamley.
South Sydney about to make another change. Nathan Gibbs wearing number 21, the former South Sydney captain and representative player, going on. And state second rower Tony Rampling will be the player whose place he will take.
Niscott, midfield. Stewart. Murray, Mackie, Smith, popped it, Brennan, Mackie, good tackle by Gary Hughes, Stewart, Murray, Melrose unloaded as well to Brennan. There's a good tackle by Farah. He's had a good game, this young Farah. Hasn't suffered in any way. There's Melrose taking his time and selectively kicking to the area that he wanted. Gearan got a line of 3 in front of him. And the tackle there of Rampling was too good. Brentnell. Gary Hughes. Lovely football there as Peter Mortimer comes off his brother Chris. He's gone round 1. That's a beautiful pass away. Oh, it's a magic football. Steve Mortimer finally comes up with it at the tail end of the chain, and that is a quality bit of play. The 3 Mortimers involved. Beautiful football. South's 24, Canterbury 13. One thinks it's too late, but just watch the action again. There was no try on it. It was man for man. Gary Hughes sucks the defence to him, gives the pass away. Finally, it's to Peter Mortimer. He's up over halfway, evades Mitch Brennan's tackle, goes round Walsh, manages to get a pass back into Chris, and there's Steve on the chain at the end. And that is great play from head on. Out to Peter. The Brennan tackle evaded. The Walsh tackle rounded. The pass back into Chris. The overhead back into Mortimer. He looked to see if there was anyone else he could pass it to, and suddenly he saw there was no other defender there. Gearan's kick is successful. So with 10 minutes to go, 24-15. South Sydney lead. There's the replacement fullback, Steve Walsh, who came on for Loftus. Murray hit hard and driven backwards. And that's a penalty for stealing the ball. Melrose from 28 metres out. There it is. That puts the seal on the win, if there was ever any doubt about it. 26 points to 15. And the statistic that we were talking about, kicks at goal, I'd like you to just listen to this. There have been 16 attempts at goal, 15 attempts at goal today by the 2 goal kickers. We're not talking about the length of time these gentlemen take themselves. This is a failing in rugby league, in my view. There have been 12 minutes 20 seconds taken up with those 15 kicks at goal. Time the ball was placed till the time the kick was taken. 12 minutes 20 seconds from 15 kicks at goal. In my view, the public are being cheated of those 12 minutes 20 seconds. I'd like to see the rugby league hierarchy move in the direction of speeding up, expediting in some way, getting the play on quicker. Now Brentnell. Mortimer. This will be another resounding win to the South Sydney side. Coveney. Gary Hughes. Oh, nice pass there on the inside. Now it gets away to Kasperian. He loomed up well there, took the pass from Mortimer. Chris Mortimer. Gary Hughes. Oh, Brentnell on the surge. The pass taken nicely by Peter Mortimer, and he's in for a try, is he? Yes, it looks like a try from side on. The Gary Hughes' pass just put Brentnell straight through on the surge, and his pass out there, beautifully pulled in by Peter Mortimer, avoided the tackle, the brunt of the tackle of Niscott. Gary Hughes just held that pass up beautifully, run round a man, offloaded. Mortimer took that so well. Niscott comes at him. Gearin from the sideline. 7th attempt at goal. He's kicked it. Well, what a great return to form by. And there's the hooter gone in the background, so 26 points to 20. Our award winner is the centre for the South Sydney side. 17 points today, a try and 7 goals from 9 attempts. Truly a memorable performance by him.